So I've got a stem in there. And I let down the power just like that. Hey there, extraordinary viewers. Today we're going to take apart this wonderful Wakmann Breitling pocket watch. You can see it's absolutely gorgeous. First thing I'm going to do is show you the face. Isn't that perfect? I mean, it is damaged, but it is a beautiful face. And then we're going to walk through the disassembly, and I'll show you some of the jewels that I find in this watch to see if they're worth replacing or whether they're worth keeping. It looks like it's in great shape here, but first let's take off this balance. This thing is such a high level of polish. Everything has a finished surface on it. So I'm going to use brass tweezers because they're softer than the steel. And they won't mar the surface. Well, this wants to come apart, so it obviously has been serviced before. Watches that haven't been serviced are usually very hard to take apart. That is a huge balance. And there's the inner working of that watch. Beauty that she is. So we'll continue taking her apart. Back all these out just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so we've loosened up those screws. Now we can take them out. Here we are at the Wakmann. It's such a beautiful high finish watch that I really want to wear gloves every time I touch it. Even though I'm going to be bathing it in solvent, I still want to make sure that I don't put any oil on that at all. Now, anybody who's watched my other videos knows that center wheel goes all the way through the cannon pinion, and because we've taken the cannon pinion off, that center wheel wants to come off with everything else. So there's all of the gear train right there. That's all of the gear train right there in all of its beauty. Okay. So here it is under the microscope, the plate with all of the jewels, and I'm looking at them to see if they're cracked. You see that's a pretty clean hole right there. But I want to take a look at all of them. You never know what's going to be under here, and I think that one of these might be actually broken. I'm not sure which one. You want to get the light to shine right across the hole like that. Because, oh wait a minute, what is that? Uh, yeah, that does not look good. We'll see what that looks like when clean, but that looks like it might be busted up. Well, we cleaned this up, and it sure does look a lot different. You can see under here, under the microscope, that when we glance that light off of the surface of the jewel, that was just dirt that was built up. These holes are all looking perfect, which I would expect no less of from a Breitling like this. So let's continue the disassembly. Here we have the plate. Okay. Since the canyon pinning is off, that second wheel comes out. This is the seconds wheel, or the fourth wheel. This is the third wheel right here. That is the escapement wheel right there. And there's the pallet fork, which we'll work on in a minute. But that's all of the gears right there. Let's get those cleaned up. Here we are back at that Wakmann. That beautiful Wakmann. Taking apart the gear train here. I've already backed out these screws a little bit so that I can come in here with a much smaller screwdriver so I don't scratch the surface of these things because they are perfect. Well, as we can see, those are different size screws. These two went in the far sides, and this one went here. So just be careful as you're taking things apart that the screws might not all be the same. I bank on them not being the same, and I'm often rewarded for that bet. And here is that semi-dirty but well-oiled bridge for the mainspring, and that'll go right into solution. And here is the winding and setting gears right where they should be. And now we can take off this pallet fork, and of course this comes out. It all looks like it's been very well maintained. So here we have the last feature. This is the bridge for the pallet fork. And I've taken the screws out, but there are these 3 rivets. You can see them here that are holding this down, and I'm going to have to put my head in the way in a minute. So I'll show you briefly how these come up. You just barely lift up one after the other, and you go around a circle, and this whole thing will come up, and the pallet fork will come out. So that's what I'm going to do now.